Hey everyone, it's Wit. I'm back with a new video today. Finally! I know it's been a long ass time since I filmed a video. I don't even know how long it's been. It's been maybe a month, 2 months? I don't know. I have no idea when the last time I filmed a video. However, there's been a lot of changes and a couple updates. So, I am in my new house now. Yeah, that's exciting. Me and my fiance bought a house together. So, it's been super exciting. I've been busy trying to unpack everything while still working. My work schedule has been crazy lately. And COVID is still a thing. So, yeah, it's been insane lately, to say the least. But I wanted to give you guys a little bit of an update. I'm sorry I went so long without filming a video. I do want to keep doing this. I still need to figure out how to edit though, because I'm not editing this video. Because I still haven't entirely taught myself how to edit yet, so that will happen soon, I hope. But as of right now, you get raw footage. So that also means I have to take this in one take, or I gotta keep retaking it. So, yeah, so a couple updates. I am in my new house now. Couple interesting things that you guys might be interested to hear. It's been kind of insane and crazy with the whole coronavirus thing going on lately. So, my sister is doing an ECT treatment. It's like kind of like a shock therapy. I don't know if you guys know much about that, but she is in the middle of that. She's had 4 treatments now, and it's going pretty good. But she had to get tested for coronavirus right before she was able to do that, right before she was able to go do the treatment. And her test ended up coming up positive. So, and like, I lived with her at the time. I lived with my dad. So like, we all had to quarantine. Like, none of us were allowed to go to work or school or anything. That was like the first week that school was starting for my little brothers. So they had to miss like the first week, I believe. And yeah, it was insane. And then, so I was out of work for a week. So was my dad. So was my fiance. My fiance was out for 2 weeks. And yeah, it's been insane. So, so she tested positive for COVID. Then my dad started questioning it because she doesn't have any symptoms. Nobody had any symptoms. She never came in contact with anybody that had it or any symptoms or anything. So, and like, we're aware that you can have this virus without having symptoms of it, but the fact that nobody ever had any symptoms, like none of us had any symptoms, anybody she's been in contact with, but she hasn't really been in contact with anybody really. Like, nobody's had symptoms. And so my dad started questioning it. My sister started looking up like the possibility of false positive tests. And like, pretty much it was saying that you'd be surprised how many false positive tests there are, which is insane. So we had her go get tested a couple more times, and all the other tests were negative. Then we did an antibody test as well, just to see if she's had it in the past, because we're aware that if she had it right then it wouldn't necessarily show up on the antibody test unless she's had it over a week, is what the doctors were telling us. And so we realized it probably wouldn't show up on the antibody test, but me and her both got the antibody test. her antibody test came up negative. My antibody test came up positive. So apparently I've had the virus in the past. Obviously I was a non-symptomatic one because I never knew I had it, but apparently I've had it in the past. I don't know, it's weird. I'm still confused with everything. But that was pretty much it. She got tested like 2 more times. She had 2 other tests and they were both negative. I got tested 2 other times on top of the antibody test as well. All mine were negative, except the antibody test was positive, but that was in the past. And so it was eventually ruled a false positive test, and that's why, like, I was only out of work for a week, and my dad was only out of work for a week, because they finally ruled it a false positive, but my fiance's work is like, I don't care, you're not coming back. So, and now we have another funny situation going on. I still don't know entirely what's going on. They're not really telling us anything, which is weird. But that's why I'm not at work right now, because normally I would be at work right now. It's a Saturday. I work Saturdays now. So normally I would be at work right now, except my sister is doing the ECT treatments, like I was telling you. And supposedly they tested her while she was under. That's what we're assuming, because we did not know she was being tested at all. She just went in for the treatment. So like, so they put her under anesthesia. I can't talk. They put her under anesthesia while they like shock her. Like, yeah, I don't know, it's weird. I still don't entirely understand it, but yeah, so they put her under anesthesia, and then my dad has to wait in the car because of the whole COVID thing. So my dad has to wait in the car while they're doing that, and then they wheelchair her out to my dad's car when they're done. That's what I've heard. I've never actually been there. I will be taking her soon. Like next week, I will be taking her to one of her appointments so I can see a little bit more how it works, but I don't know yet. But that's what my dad has said and what my sister has said. But so yeah, it was just like a normal like treatment thing. Like she went in and they put her under anesthesia, then they wheelchaired her out and everything, and they were done about 2:10, 2:15 is when she came out. And then that night at like midnight, Victoria out of the blue got a notification that she tested positive for coronavirus. And she's like, what the heck? I wasn't tested. But they said she was tested at 2:00 exactly. And so that would have been about the time she probably would have been like waking up, I'm assuming. But like, even if they even tested her, because like we don't even know if they like even tested her or then like mixed up the apps or something. I don't know entirely. But this is more guessing, but we know she tested positive for COVID, but nobody knew that she was being tested. So like Victoria, my sister, she said that she recalls them mentioning at one point, like before they even started the ECT, that they would like, they might test periodically throughout the test, like throughout the treatment, because her treatment lasts like a month or something. They do it right now. They're doing treatments Monday, Wednesday, Friday, like 3 days a week for about a month. That's to my knowledge right now. That's all I know right now. But she says that she feels like they did tell her that they might test her periodically throughout the treatment. But like she says, they're so good about like telling her and like keeping her up to date on like what they're doing and whatnot. So it's just weird that they never told her or my dad that they were going to test her, or even when they were wheelchairing her out, they never told anybody that they tested her. But then she randomly got a notification at like midnight that she tested positive. There was a whole thing that went down there. So I called my work the next day, and because I was supposed to go to work the next day, and I'm like, so I don't know what to do. My sister tested positive, supposedly. We didn't even know she was getting tested, and I've been in close contact with her. She's been sleeping over here. I've been over there. Yeah. So my work wanted me to call Teladoc. I don't know if you guys know what that is, but it's like my work pays for it. It's like pretty much you talk to a doctor over the phone. And so whenever anything weird happens, like my work always just says call Teladoc. So they told me to call Teladoc and get their advice. And so I told them, and they said they're not concerned about it. They think it's just a false negative or a false positive. They think it's a false positive test. Like, they weren't concerned about it at all. But they're concerned about me. Because, a little backstory, I've had issues breathing lately. So I do have anxiety and panic disorder. That makes it hard to breathe. Like, when I'm anxious, like, I have a hard time breathing. I can feel like I'm suffocating. And yeah, so I have breathing problems from that. I do have asthma as well, so I also have breathing problems from that. And so for about 2 days, I was having, well, it was one day in specific, but the day before was iffy too. But like that day in specific, like I was working all day, but I couldn't breathe. Like, I just couldn't get a deep breath. I felt like I was suffocating, and it was like it was worrying me, like, because like I was using my inhaler because I didn't know if it was asthma, and so I used my inhaler. My inhaler never worked, and I didn't think I was anxious, but of course not being able to breathe was making me more anxious and making me panic, and then it was a nightmare. But like, I was at work and I still couldn't breathe, and I don't know, it sucked. So that night, after my fiance got off work, he has a little nebulizer thing, like a breathing treatment thing that they do at doctors as well, but he has one. And so he had me do a couple treatments on that, but he said they were expired and he didn't know how well they would work, but we tried it anyway just to see if it would help at all, because I was trying to put off going to the doctor because I really didn't want to. And so that wasn't working. So I called my dad for advice. My dad's like, just go to an urgent care. So I went to an urgent care. This was like 9 o'clock at night. I don't even know. This was like a week ago. And I'm sorry if this is like all over the place. But anyway, so I went to an urgent care. My fiance took me to an urgent care. They did a nebulizer treatment, and that didn't help at all. The doctor wasn't very good, I feel. Like, so like after the nebulizer treatment, he's like, did that help? I'm like, I don't know, not really, I don't think so. And he's like, well, it wouldn't necessarily be all the way, but is it any better? And I'm like, no, I don't think so. I can't tell any difference. I still can't breathe. He's like,
power off.
Sorry, that's my speaker. I was listening to music. But lost my train of thought. But so yeah, so I was at the doctor, and then the doctor's like, after I'm like, no, it's not helping, he's like, okay, well, I'll send you home with some steroids. So he sent me home with some steroids, told me to take it in the morning, because by the time I was done, it was like 10:30 at night, and I still had to work the next day. So they're like, you're not going to sleep if you take these tonight, so take these in the morning. So I didn't sleep very well because I still couldn't breathe. But so the next morning at work, I was at work, I took the steroids. I was still having really, really hard time breathing. I couldn't breathe. I don't know. And so, but then I started like coughing. Like I had a little bit of a cough. Like it wasn't bad, but like it was just like a little cough here and there. That's when I started getting paranoid. I'm like, is this coronavirus? And so I talked to my boss, because my boss, like my work has been extremely anal about it. Like, if you're sick, stay home. If you don't feel good, stay home. And so I'm like, I don't know what to do. So I was telling him, I'm like, I can't breathe. And I told him I went to the urgent care the night before and they did nebulizer treatments and it's not working. And also my oxygen level was 94 when I went into the urgent care. So it's not bad. It's not like dangerous or anything, but my oxygen level is usually always 98. Like anytime I go to the doctor, like, and like they test like your oxygen or whatever, like my oxygen is always 98. So it was 94 when I went in. So little preference, or I don't know. But so it wasn't like dangerous, it wasn't bad, but it was a little bit lower than it should have been. Anyway, so I was at work the next day and I went and talked to my boss. And I'm like, I don't know what to do because I still can't breathe and I'm starting to cough a little bit and I don't want to be in trouble for being here if I'm not supposed to be. And so they had me talk to the HR lady, and then the HR lady had me call Teladoc. And then they weren't concerned about, like, Teladoc didn't think it was COVID at all. They weren't worried about that. But they said I needed to leave work and go to the ER. And so I'm like, the ER is expensive. I don't think it's an emergency. Like I wasn't too worried about it. But like my work is like, yeah, you can leave. And then they suggested I go to another urgent care and just try different urgent care first. So I went to a different urgent care and they turned me, like they wouldn't even like see me because like they took my oxygen. My oxygen was like 96. So it was a little better than it was the night before, but still wasn't the best. And so they suggested I go to an ER because they said all they would be able to do is nebulizer treatment as well. So I ended up having to go to the ER because apparently the urgent care can't do shit. So I went to the ER and like they were all like, it was weird, like they were all like, just the way they were acting, like they were all like terrified I had COVID. And so like they put me in a room and my fiance couldn't be with me, and so he had to go out to his car and wait. And then like it was weird because like the main doctor is like, no, this isn't COVID at all. I'm not concerned about you having COVID. But then, like, all the nurses and whatnot that would come in is, like, because, like, they have, like, a little machine in there that, like, shoots the air outside. So, like, the air's cleaner. And they're like, I'm just going to turn this on. And, like, they seemed all paranoid that I had COVID. But the main doctor did not think I had COVID at all. But, so, like, he listened to my chest. And he said that he could tell that there was some tightness in there, and so they did an x-ray and it turned out it was bronchitis. And so yeah, they diagnosed me with bronchitis and gave me more steroids and an antibiotic, and yeah, so they sent me home. And then so my breathing's gotten a little better since then, but it's still not the best. I still feel like I'm still kind of struggling a little bit. And so, fast forward back to this whole thing going on right now. My sister tested positive. My work wanted me to call Teladoc to get their opinion. I called Teladoc. Teladoc was not worried about my sister. They brushed that off. Yeah, that's probably just another false positive. I don't know why she's having so many false positives, but that's probably what it is. But, like, I told the Teladoc about, like, the doctor all about like, I went to the ER and I'm having breathing issues and whatnot. And so he's paranoid that I've had COVID this entire time. He's like, have you been going to work? I'm like, yeah, the ER told me to go back to work. They didn't think it was COVID. I was planning on getting tested for COVID at the ER, but the doctor's like, no, I don't think you have COVID at all. And then after they saw I have bronchitis, they're like, no, you have bronchitis. And so I was never tested for COVID. Then the teledoc the doctor thinks that I've had COVID this whole time. So I don't know what to think, but he wrote me a note to get me out of work for the next 3 days. So technically I would be able to go back to work tomorrow, but my work is closed on Sunday, so I go back to work Monday. But I've had Thursday, Friday, now Saturday off because of that, because the teledoctor thinks that I have COVID. But he said I don't need to get tested because that's unnecessary, and I don't know, I'm still confused. I want your guys' thoughts. What do you guys think? This is crazy. I don't even know what to think about this whole COVID thing now. Like, what is going on? I don't understand anything, but yeah, pretty much I'm supposed to be out for the next 3 days because I said it's been about a week since like the whole like breathing problem started. So he says, well, you'd only have 3 more days left of quarantining anyway, so let's just have you quarantined for the remainder of the 3 days. So that's why I'm quarantining. But yeah, that's my update. That's what I have so far. Put down in the comments what your thoughts are, because I don't entirely know what to think. I don't understand. But yeah, on the bright side, it's giving me more time to be able to unpack, because we've been moved in for about 3 weeks and I still have not unpacked shit because I've been working so much and I only have like 2 days off. Last week I only had 1 day off, so I don't have a lot of days to unpack stuff. So yeah, so that's what I'm trying to do today and yesterday. And we're also in the middle of painting our kitchen cabinets because we didn't like the color, and yeah, it's been a very, very eventful month. But that's everything I have for today. Let me know in the comments what you guys think, because I still don't really know what to think about all this. It's crazy. It's weird. I just want it to go away. Doesn't everybody? But yeah, that's all I have for today. Leave some recommendations down below what you want to see next, what videos you want to see next. And hopefully now that I'm in my own house, and hopefully things calm down soon, and then I can be more on schedule, more repetitive. You know what I'm saying. I hope to be able to stick to this better and do this like every week like I was originally planning on and trying to do, but life happens. Anyway, thank you all for watching this. I appreciate all of you guys' support. Thank you. Bye.